Hi, everyone. Welcome to our BC Adventure Smart presentation tonight. It's nice to be with you. My name is Sandra Riches, and I'm the Executive Director for the BC Adventure Smart program. We have a great crew here at BC Adventure Smart, and some of us are based in Revelstoke, some of us are based here on the coast, and our headquarters is in Burnaby, and we're doing a lot of working from home right now. I'm very grateful, though, to be coming to you from the Coast Salish territory, and that's where I live here in North Vancouver. I'm very grateful for that. And tonight, I'm grateful for you as well for joining us and having a love of snow and having a love of skiing or snowboarding or splitboarding, whatever you choose to do on the snow in the ski area, within the ski area boundary. That's what we're going to talk a lot about tonight, and what's in there, how it's managed, how you can play in there safely, who makes it safe for you, in addition to yourself, and then also what to do in case there is an emergency, because we know that emergencies do happen. We've heard of a few stories, fortunate ones and unfortunate ones lately, and every winter and summer in British Columbia, we do have search and rescue calls that maybe some of you have seen on the news and read on social media, and then we jump in there as much as we can to help educate you and increase your awareness so that everybody can be safe, have fun, and go outside and just do a few things to stay safe while you're out there. And we always want to say that our destination for our adventures is always at home. That's our destination. So let's jump right in here. Tonight we're going to talk about snow safety and education for inbounds. We're going to talk about being safe within the ski area boundary, and I'll talk about that a lot, and we'll talk about being at the ski hill, within the boundary ropes, within the CRA, which is the controlled recreation area. But first, I'd like to introduce to you the Adventure Smart program. You've heard about us before, or you wouldn't be here tonight. And we are a national program and very proud of that. The British Columbia Search and Rescue Association started Adventure Smart 17 years ago. I've been with the program since, and we have an awesome crew that supports it, and a lot of volunteers who also share our message and have been trained by us. Based on our provincial success, it went national in 2009, so we do have representation in every single province and territory, which is really exciting. This presentation tonight, though, is here to focus on how you can stay safe at the ski resort. So no matter where you're coming from tonight, which hopefully I'll be able to learn a little bit more about you soon, we need to talk about how you stay safe at the ski area, how you maintain that safety for others around you, and it's all around respect. Respecting yourself, respecting others, and respecting the mountain. Actually, respecting the mountain. If you've skied before, and if I was with you in person, I'd say, could you raise your hand if you're a skier, or if you're a snowboarder, or what do you choose to ride on? You're familiar with the Alpine Responsibility Code. If this is new to you, a new activity, these are the rules of the road, so to speak, the rules of the mountain on the snow, and you always need to stay in control. It's your responsibility to manage your speed, manage your abilities, and that's where you choose to ride is based on your abilities, and where you would expand to is based on the abilities that you gain. People ahead of you always have the right of way, so if you're heading down, you can see everywhere. You can't see behind me, so it's that person's responsibility behind me to make sure that I'm not in their way and that they're going around me. So we have to look around us and make sure we're paying attention. We can obstruct the trails and stay visible. Don't obstruct the trails, and make sure you stay visible from above. So that means if you come over a little bit of a knoll, we want to make sure that you're off to the side and away and out of the way, so that others can continue to come around the corner or over the knoll, so that they can still have a free, clean, safe space to ski or board. So don't put yourself in a blind spot. For those of us who drive, we know what that means. Don't put yourself where someone can't see you. Look uphill and yield to others. If we're coming down a ski area, run, and sometimes the trails will come in from the side. We need to have a quick look up either way, depending on which way the trail's coming in, to make sure it's safe to continue. And remain at the scene of an accident in case there is one. So if one of your friends gets hurt, stay there, help them out, give them support. If you're on skis, you can take your skis and put them in a big X downhill while your friend's above, so that there's, your skis are above, you're downhill, so that they're protected. You can see that there's a hazard there. And make sure you use those proper devices to prevent your skis from running away. Make sure your brakes work. and observe all the posted signs. We're going to jump into some signage in a second, but we need to understand what they mean. Trail abilities, and it's all indicated by signs. And please make sure you stay off those closed trails and out of the closed areas. They're closed for a reason. Ski Patrol have gotten up bright and early, well before us, gotten there, assessed hazards, put up ropes, signs, and we need to abide by them. Make sure your head is clear on the hill and that you can make great decisions, and learn how to use the lifts. It sounds basic, but not everybody does. And the lifties are there to help you get on and off. They'll slow the chairlift down for you. So just speak up when you get up there if it's your first time or you're just getting comfortable. They're there to help you. Let's talk about the buddy system for a second. So hopefully you've joined us tonight with your friends or a buddy, or you know someone else who's joining the presentation from another screen, and maybe you ride and ski together. You get to go on the chairlift together in your bubble, in your current bubble. And let's just make sure that we stick together, especially in the treed areas. If any of you have heard anything about tree wells, which we'll talk about in a second, they're dangerous areas, and we all need to stick together, have meeting places, understand when we're heading down for lunch, wait for each other at certain parts of the hill. And if you're in and amongst the trees, we need to be able to see each other and hear each other in case something goes wrong. That goes to the next snowflake bullet, hoot and holler. Some of us, when we go through there in groups, we do kind of the Marco Polo, like you would play in the pool. We do that as we head through the trees, and that's a way to see each other and hear. And it's a really just little fun way to get through the trees safely. Wait for your friend. I know that I ski a lot with my boyfriend, and we have a bunch of friends that we ski with, and we always have spots throughout the run where we know we're going to stop. So we don't just boot to the bottom and hopefully everybody gets there. We have meeting spots, and we plan that run together. We plan that run together based on our ability, if we're hungry or not, and we need to go for lunch, and how our time is working for that day. So it's a quick plan. You can chat about it on the way up on the chair. And then respect your group's limits, knowing where you're capable of riding together. If it's all greens, if it's all blues, if it's all blacks, if it's a combination, depending on how you would set up your group. And this is something you plan before you go. Chat about it over dinner the night before, or send a text and see how everyone's doing, and check in those abilities, especially if you haven't ridden before together. And we like to say there are friends on a powder day. I want to go riding with my friends on a powder day. It's fun, it's awesome, it's great to share, it's awesome to talk about after at après or at home with a hot chocolate, and it's good, and it's a safe way to go. Here's a little bit of the signage. So if you're joining us tonight and you're new to the ski area, these are how we rate and grade the ski runs. So the green circle is for a beginner. I head there anyway for every single beginning first run usually. Get that blood flowing, warm up, and just get myself feeling good before I move on to whatever I feel like for that day. Intermediate would be a blue square. So you've got your wits about you. You know how to stop efficiently, safely. You can control your speed, control your moves, control your turns. This is for snowboarding or skiing, either one. The black diamond is for an expert, and then double black is expert only. And these are right across all ski areas. These are universal. So you're going to go to any ski area out there, you're going to see the same thing. So it's easy to define which runs mean which difficulty, and you can rate that for yourself. And you can check out all these on a map before you go, or their website. It's easy. And then a few of the extra signage we've got there on your left is closed. A lot of these are pretty self-explanatory, but they're good to read into the finer details. Permanently closed. Maybe that area is under construction. Maybe there's trees down from a previous storm, or maybe they're building a new trail. Maybe you get a new run next winter. That would be great. Marginal conditions. Maybe there are workers on the trail. That's the bottom sign. And in the middle there, it says ski area boundary, not patrolled. That's an important one. That's probably the one that I see the most out there, aside from the trail markers. We see the ski area boundary, and that's identifying as far as we can go to the very far boundaries of the ski area. Because within that, it's controlled, managed, risk assessed. And everything on the outside of that are unmanaged spaces. There's no patrol, there's no cafeteria, there's no washroom, and there are hazards. So the ski area boundary is the one you're probably going to see the most. And at times they might put an avalanche danger sign up. They've got some warnings depending on the hazards or visibility on that run. Ski area boundary, again, they tell you it's not patrolled. And unmarked hazards, we have to look for these things because sometimes the creek's open if it's spring skiing. So maybe there's an icy patch, maybe there's a cliff, a sinkhole, the creek's opened up. There's a few things that they'll mark, so we need to pay attention as we cruise down the runs. This is always an interesting topic, and I really like this section because it talks about inbounds versus out of bounds. And I like to define those as two specific spots, two specific areas. So inbounds is where we're skiing, boarding, having a good time. It's managed. Ski patrol take care of us, and there's different resources there for us, right? And we'll see this sign here, the ski area boundary, and it's important to note that, again, we don't go beyond that, and we're never to follow tracks that might go that way. It might look enticing, it might look like something you saw on Instagram or in a magazine or in a movie, but it's really nowhere where we're going from that point. You know, we're not ducking a rope to go into these areas. And when we head into areas that are unmanaged, they are called the backcountry as well. Those are accessible through certain gateways or through certain access points. So if any of you tonight, which I'll find out soon enough, if you're from the Lower Mainland and you know Cypress, Grouse, Seymour, on Cypress and Seymour, they're both provincial parks. They have routes that are marked by BC Parks, and they take you up backcountry routes to the backcountry. They have a specific gateway. They have avalanche hazard signs, they've got trail markers, and you can snowshoe it, skin up, microspike, and head up. That's entering at a different point. But at entering those spots, you need to have your skills, your abilities, your training, your gear, be self-sufficient, companion rescue skills. There's a lot involved in that area to play. But heading out of here off the ski area and ducking a rope and heading into those areas will only get you into trouble. I can guarantee you that. Before I jump into the next section, I would love to play a quick little video for you. So I'm going to pull it up and chat at the same time. This is going to introduce us to the next little section, but the video tells the story really well, and it's about tree wells. And we've heard some stories lately about tree wells and what they can entail. So we're going to watch this a quick clip, and we'll discuss it after.
Service announcement. All right, so one of the big dangers in the backcountry or anytime you're around trees is tree wells. What's a tree well? Well, all these beautiful branches kind of capture and hold the snow, and so it doesn't fall at the base of the tree, leaving thus a big hole, a tree well. And if you're skiing and you happen to fall above the tree well and maybe cartwheel down into it, look what happens. You can go deep, 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 deep. And I'm on my feet. What if you're upside down? How the hell are you gonna get out? Well, good thing I got my shovel team here. Shovel team.
Someone grab his arm.
What do you do when you're in a tree well? Remain calm.
Someone hold on to him.
All this snow is gonna come in on top of you, and don't move. Just try to grab a branch. Keep your airway clear, maybe, and don't pee your pants. And when the gals come in and start trying to shovel me out, what direction are they going to shovel from? Downhill. Okay. You made it. Woo! Here we go, double team. So no going in tree wells, people. Look at the open spaces between the trees, not the trees themselves. And that's the public service announcement from CMH Heli Skiing Monashee. Thank you.
Great. Well, just let me get right back to this, and then I'll continue, and we'll talk about tree wells. So it's really a dangerous area to be, and let's just look at it for 2 seconds and we'll talk about it and then we'll move on. We had a post recently and it was really helpful, and it was on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and it was about tree wells. We also had one on cornices and ice safety, and these are all winter topics. And tree wells can be a massive hazard, and they're very dangerous. And I want you to think about them no matter where you are in the mountains, out there in the snow. So But we've got this tree well here, and there's this void space at the base of the trunk of the tree. And then that snowpack will build up, of course, as it snows, and the snowpack continues to build on either side. But what protects that space at the bottom of the tree are the beautiful branches and boughs of the tree. So we know what a tree looks like, and it's right in front of us. And so that space underneath doesn't get packed down like the snow beside the tree does. So this is where we're skiing and boarding beside the trees, if you do. And then if you get too close, it can get softer as you get closer to the base of this tree. So this area will be easy to fall into, and they're hard to see. You can't visualize them, but after you've spent some time with us tonight, hopefully now you'll think of every tree up there in the mountains in the wintertime has this big hole at the base of it. And that's how we love you to think. We need you to be concerned about them. And just to be careful of other ski area hazards, you know, we've got tree wells, we have whiteouts, weather, getting lost, of course. Getting lost and disoriented is one of our top 3 reasons for search and rescue in the winter time. So that's one to be paying close attention to. Other hazards can be other skiers and riders, believe it or not. If they're not in control, they are a hazard, trust me. Rocks, cliffs, creeks, ice, running water, sinkholes underneath the snow. So paying attention to the season, the snowpack, the weather, being cautious of these tree wells are all really important points to remember as we head out there on the ski area. Ski patrol. If any one of you are out there who are ski patrol, thank you. If you know one, you should thank them. And if you see one, you should thank them. That they're awesome people. They love the mountain as much as we do, and they have a really great job to do. And it's commended. They're there to help you in case something happens and you're hurt. But they have a lot to do before you get to the mountain. They have a lot to do while you're on the mountain and after. And it's all risk assessment, first response, making sure that you're safe pre, during, and post your visit. That's really what they do. So they apply first aid, they control those hazards. They'll assess the situation and if a run needs to be closed due to any of the hazards we just talked about before, or if there's an avalanche danger or weather or winds, precipitate, you know, there's many reasons why they choose. And at the end of the day, after you're gone and home and your feet are up and you're on the couch having dinner and a movie, shortly before that, they're sweeping the hill to make sure that no one else is there, so that they can so that they can see if anyone is out there, then they can notify police and search and rescue can come and find them. But they have a job at the end of the day, late and an early start as well. They'll also stabilize any potential avalanche slopes. It's also their job. They're trained with avalanche skill training. And they'll also assist with search for lost skiers within the ski area boundary. So that's their jurisdiction, if you will. That's their responsibility, and that's where they'll assist there as well. And so they'll assist search and rescue because they know the area really well, and they can help out if need be. And some of them actually are on search and rescue. Before I head on to the next section here, we can look at this and answer a question at the same time. I'm curious what your primary activity is. So as Natasha, who's our tech support tonight, she's a great part of our crew. She's going to pull up a poll question, and I'd love you to answer it for us. I love to ski in the wintertime. I also love to hike, and then I also do spend a lot of time on my mountain bike. That's my fave. Everybody knows that. And snowshoeing, I'd like to throw on my micro spikes. I prefer them, but if there's great big snow, of course you need the snowshoes. Otherwise, the spikes work really well. And maybe backcountry skiing or snowboarding is something that you're into. So let us know which one of those works for you, and then we can go from there. And when we deliver these presentations face to face, this is a question I ask too, because I'm always curious who's sitting out there. And the same goes for our webinars. I'm curious who's sitting out there and what you like to do. It gives us a gist of what we can talk about, or answer any questions at the end, which we'll make sure we give you some time to answer those questions. So the poll will be ready in seconds, I'm sure. There we go. Great timing. Thanks, Natasha. So hiking's big. It always is. So that's interesting. Even though we're here for snow safety, we know that your primary activities fall to hiking at 82%. That's high. And then, of course, great. I would hope that would be the second one at 59% there for skiing and boarding. And we've got some snowshoers in there, backcountry skiers and mountain bikers. Awesome. That's a great range. That's great to see. And so it just gives us a good idea of who you are and what you like to do. We love to do all those things too. So let's jump into taking the essentials. So this is really important to think about as you pack for your activities, no matter what season or what sport. So before I finish the evening, I'm going to talk about the 3 T's a little bit here and there, but it's really important to think about these little sections here. So not everyone skis with a pack, but I know in my jacket I've got extra spots for things. And a lot of this can be really condensed and fit in there quite nicely. So it does not hurt to have some form of light source. And extra batteries, definitely, extra batteries. Headlamp is super small, it's tucked in easily. Fire making kit, I take the lint out of my dryer and I put it in a very tiny little Ziploc bag, and that gets stuffed in my pack or in my pocket as well with a light source for that. Plus I know how to start a fire, so I'm good there. A signaling device could be an emergency whistle. If you look into that picture, you're going to see a little blue thing on the floor there. That's one of our BC Adventure Smart blue safety whistles. That would go right on the tab of your ski coat or whatever you're wearing. So it's really close to your face, so that if you do go in one of those tree wells, you're probably going to go in head first, and that whistle is going to be nice and close to your face, close to your mouth, and you'll do what you have to get a hold of it, because it won't do any good in your pack or in a pocket, that's for sure. Sun protection, emergency blanket. These are just the top few lists of our primary list. And then we've got that big red sack here. And the reason we do that is because it packs up nicely into it, and you can see there. So the latter things, we've got food and water, shelter, which is small as well. A little silver space blanket is awesome. If you ever see us out there at a ski hill, swing by, because we do have them for you. And then extra warm clothing, which you're probably wearing. You've got a great layering system on, and some form of communication and or navigation. So that can be, I see a lot of people now skiing with two-way radios. They've got them right there. They're ready to go. Families do their thing and they keep in touch. Perfect. We all have one of these at some point, and that's a way of communicating as well, but it doesn't mean it's efficient. It doesn't mean the battery will last. I know they get cold and then it dies and the battery could go. So don't rely on that for your means of communication, and make sure you let someone know before you're going, so that they know what mountain you're on, who you're with, when you're coming home, and the process can start in case there is an emergency and they need to call 911 for help, because you've left all that information at home, which is really important. Specific to skiing, of course, we've got those essentials. So in that top left box there, those are our basics. At adventuresmart.ca, we've got a trip planning page, and then we talk about 3 T's, and one of them is taking the essentials, and they're all listed there. So if you're confused, they're listed there. If you don't have our app downloaded yet, there's another way to find the list. It's also there. So those are your basics in the square. And then everything else is adding season and sport specific. So we've got our gloves, hat, poles, and skis, of course, helmet for sure, goggles. And then I like to carry an avalanche transceiver, a shovel, and a probe. And we do that for those of us who spend time in the backcountry, but I know more and more people are wearing them in the ski area. If you do spend any time in the backcountry, it's a good time to practice, and it gets you comfortable in wearing it and carrying it. So those are some examples of sport-specific skiing and the gear that's appropriate to that. Now, what to do in an emergency. So I'm going to back up one, and I'm going to show you another video, and this one is about our Trip Plan app. So I would love for you guys, if you don't already have it, to download it. We have an easy way to do that at the end of tonight's presentation. We've got a simple QR code. You can just hold your phone up to the screen. But why don't we watch another little video? This one is about the app. It's a quick little video. It'll give you a quick little synopsis of what it's all about, and it's free, by the way. So let's have a watch, and we can chat more at the end. There we go. So that gave you a chance to learn a little bit more. We've got that on our website as well, and it's in a few spots, but it's nice to show during the presentation to give you a gist and to learn a little bit more about it. And again, we'll have an opportunity to talk about that at the end. So we've talked about where you should ski, where you shouldn't ski, staying in bounds, the signage, where to access the backcountry. That was just a little basic bit where you would go for that. But tonight's about being safe within the ski area. But accidents happen within the ski area boundary as well. So we want to talk about what to do in an emergency. If you've heard of any of the recent search and rescue incidents that have been happening in British Columbia, we know that they've been happening quite a bit. In British Columbia every year, there are approximately 1,700 search and rescue calls just in BC every year. That's grown over the years. I've been with the BC Search and Rescue Association for almost 20 years, with Adventure Smart for 17, and we've seen a continuous growth. We've also seen a lot more interest in outdoor recreation. We're an active province, we're a healthy province. We love to play outside. People move here to play outside. So new Canadians are joining us outdoors, residents are joining us outdoors, travelers, when we can do that again. Love what we have here in BC. So there's a few emergencies that do happen, and quite a few of them can be prevented. But if something does happen, let's talk to you about what you should do. This is really important stuff here. And so we want to think about the stop analogy, and it's easy to remember because the word just tells you what you need to do. If you forget the rest of it, you know you just need to stop. But we've broken it down for you. You just need to stop, think, observe, plan, and then you can act. This does so much for our well-being, our state of mind, the process of anxiety, that shock feeling, the stressfulness of being lost. If you've been lost in a mall from your parents, that's the start of that feeling. Or if you've been lost outdoors, you know what I'm talking about. So the first portion of it is to take a moment, and just assess the situation. Is anybody hurt? You're in a group and maybe someone has fallen in a tree well, or maybe they fell down a little bit of a slope and they've twisted their ankle. Do you need emergency care? And or are you lost? So the number one in wintertime, the top three, one of the reasons why people need search and rescue is they do become lost or disoriented. Maybe that's just a quick look of the trail to see where you are, and you can right yourself and away you go if you've been off the trail a little bit. If someone is hurt, you do need emergency care. So you've filed out your trip plan, you let someone know where you're going, and they know what mountain you're on and the ski area that you're going to ski in, the runs, and who you're with. So that's put in place. You can use your phone within the ski area boundary if you have battery and you have cell reception to phone 911, and that's important that you know that that's the number. There's no other special search and rescue number. It's 911, and it goes to the police, and they'll bring out the search and rescue group for you. So stopping is critical. The next section here is we need to think about a few things. So we've stopped moving, which is key. And now we need to figure out how will we contact ski patrol for help. And definitely, how do we contact that ski patrol? So we can do that having your buddy go to a lifty and tell that lifty to get help so that we've got ski patrol coming to help you. That's important. So we need to talk about how we communicate within the ski area. So I gave the example of if you needed to phone 911, but within the ski area, you've got ski patrol right there, and they're going to be able to get to you quickly because they're on the mountain. Will anyone know you're injured, missing, or lost? Well, you've let everybody know by the trip plan app, or you've left a note at home, or you text your mom, so someone knows where you are. And will anyone know where you are? Again, that goes back to the trip plan. Someone knows where you are. You told an emergency trusted person in your life, and they know where you're at. I know my son tonight is on Cyprus, so he let me know who he's with, when he's supposed to be home, and he'll text me when he gets home. Even though he's 22, he's still going to text me when he gets home. And when should you contact ski patrol? You want to contact them as soon as you can. So if your friend's injured, you know, put that process in place. You know that you can get in touch with ski patrol, help them get back to you or your friend safely. And do you have the abilities to signal for help? So you've got your whistle, which is going to be super loud. Your voice will get super muffled out there. Wind, snow, rain, trees, everything outdoors, your voice doesn't go far and it gets tired. So you have the ability to signal with a whistle. And just remember, search and rescue is free. It's free of charge. There is no cost to you. So if you need them, they're there for you 24/7. There's 2,500 volunteers who will come and help you whenever you need them. Let's go on to the observe section. So here now you have to kind of look around and see what's going on. And you want to make sure that there's no other hazards or dangers in the area. So make sure that there's no sinkholes close to you, or you're below a cornice, which is a big overhanging piece of snow that could fall on you. Make sure you're not near an avalanche chute. Make sure you're not near the tree wells. So you need to check around and make sure you're safe and in the spot you could be. And are you in a safe situated location? And then observe the subject's condition. So your friend's hurt. Maybe they broke their ankle. Maybe they're dizzy. Maybe they're hypothermic. They're getting cold. There's many things that can happen to them if they're starting to go in shock, if they've injured themselves. You also have a job to keep them warm and dry and calm. Share some stories, have a chat until emergency gets back to you. If you've got any snacks in your pocket, have a drink if you've got a Camelback or a water pack on you. So I use this last part of the observe here is I like to be with at least 3 people. So if one of us gets hurt, one of us can stay with that person who needs help, and the other person can go get help. That's a good rule of thumb. We love the number 3, by the way. That's how many times you should blow the whistle in case you get lost, and it just goes on and on. We have lots of acronyms for 3. And now you need to plan. So you need to coordinate your buddy to get help, like I was just talking about. Alternatively, flag down another skier or a boarder for help. So let's say now there's only 2 of you. You can flag somebody else down and have them go get help for you, and you can stay with your friend. And place those skis or that board, like I said, above the injured person so that anyone coming down will see that there's an emergency there. So if you see a big X of skis or a couple boards there, you need to go around if you're just the other skier and stay away. And signal for help using that whistle, definitely. And just remember that incidents happen inbounds, backcountry, and again, 1,700 times a year something happens. It's a lot, and we're trying to reduce the number and severity of those calls. Before I move on to the latter part of the sections here, I'm curious where you're sitting. I let you know where I was tonight. I'm in North Vancouver, and fortunately to be here. And where are you sitting tonight? This helps us get an understanding of where you are in the province. We know that the registrations came in, and we're happy to see where everyone's registering from, but this will give us an idea if you're on the south coast, in the lower mainland where the high density is, if you're over on the island, northern BC, central BC, Kootenays or Rockies. So if you could just give us a click and let us know, that would be awesome. Just to let you know that in each one of those areas, you have a search and rescue group near you. In BC, we have 79 search and rescue groups, 2,500 volunteers who respond to 1,700 calls. So there's a search and rescue group close to you. I can guarantee you, if that's of interest, you can look that up at bcsara.com, the BC Search and Rescue Association.com, to learn more about those groups. If you're here in the lower mainland, you're familiar with Squamish Search and Rescue, Coquitlam, North Shore, Whistler, Pemberton, Central Fraser Valley, South Fraser Search and Rescue, Sunshine Coast. There's a wealth of them through here, and it's we're really fortunate. All 79 groups are amazing people. So let's see what the answers are. That doesn't surprise me that's where you're sitting. You're sitting down here with me somewhere. I know that circle is broad, but no one from the island tonight. Okay, and no one from Kootenays or Rockies. And then 6 is 6%. Well, thank you, Northern BC and Central BC, for joining us. And as I jump into the next section here, thanks, Natasha. That was great. The easy access we have for those of us who live in the lower mainland, and 89% of you are from down here, is awesome. We have access to incredible terrain. And when I say that, I think about the whole Sea to Sky corridor. And for us, that spans from Hope all the way to Pemberton. And that's the region we define within Search and Rescue as the Sea to Sky region. And those search and rescue groups take care of that region. We have awesome opportunity to recreate, play and bike and hike and ski and paddle and so many great things, backcountry, front country. And that easy access is awesome for those of us who know what we're doing. It's just as easy for the unaware who aren't familiar with what they should have with them, how they should respond in an emergency, and how they should prepare. So it's important that it's great and that you joined us tonight, and it's awesome if you know anyone else who wants to join us for our future presentations. We've got more coming up each week, and it's really helpful for us to increase the awareness out there so you can keep going out there to play and have fun. And it's really great to see, because we are seeing a huge increase in outdoor rec and a huge increase for people wanting to join us for our presentations. So before we get to the last 2 slides, I just want to talk about, when you're skiing at the resort, remember to always follow the Alpine Responsibility Code. Make sure you read and follow those signs. Always stick with your buddy, and ensure you always have those essentials with you. Before I switch to the last slide, I do have one more question though, and one more simple poll is, how did you hear about us? I'm curious if it was through social, which we have a lot of action going on right now, and fun giveaways and more coming up, by the way, pay attention. Maybe it was through friends and family. Maybe you saw us at a local ski hill, or maybe you were in Revelstoke and ran into Valerie and Steve, who are our crew there for the winter. Maybe it was on social, Google, or maybe you've already got our app downloaded and on your phone, which would be great. So this helps us get a gist of where we can place our messaging, where we can talk with you, when we can engage with you. And we love doing the face-to-face. We just did avalanche awareness days, both in Revelstoke and in Whistler, with locals from a safe distance. And we spoke to quite a few people about outdoor safety, avalanche awareness, and it was great. Having that communication with people outdoors is really key. This goes far too. So we love both ways to communicate with everybody. So once that's all tallied, Natasha will show us where you heard about us. And I'm always curious how this pans out. So let's see, social media. Okay, I'm not surprised. Natasha and I were just talking before you came on tonight that we've had a lot of action on our Facebook. Our numbers are going up, and we've had some great shares though, great information to share, lots of great conversations with you. So really encourage your friends and family to join us, it's fun. And then we have Trailhead. Oh, good. So you've seen us out there. That's fun. Awesome. Hopefully you got one of our giveaways, a shelter, a whistle, or a signaling card. Those are fun. And friends and family. Great. Well, the friends and family that don't know about us yet, tell them to join us. Thanks, Natasha. So here's where you get to take your phone, go to camera mode. You can scan it right over that QR code. And while you're doing that, Natasha and I will give an opportunity to answer any questions for you about tonight, about what we do, about future webinars. And Natasha will come on with her voice and join us. And she's been great for tech support as always. And we can answer any questions that maybe you've put in the queue. And we'd be happy to hang out with you for a little bit longer and see what else we can help you with.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Sandra. Yeah, so I don't have any questions in the queue at the moment, but if anybody would like to ask us any questions, please put them in the question area or in the chat. We're happy to answer things. If you're curious about search and rescue, adventuring on the North Shore, and whether it's on your skis or if you snowshoe as well and you wanted to get some more information on that, we're happy to provide that as well. We do have some information on other webinars that we have coming up. We have some, let me just pull this up actually, and I'll get our event list in front of me so I'm not guessing. Just give me one moment.
Yeah, that's always great to share, isn't it, Natasha? It's whoops. There we go. I can always pull that up too, actually. That's not a problem as well, if that's an interest for anybody.
Yeah, if you want to pull that up, then I can just speak to it. So tomorrow evening, we have a pretty full outdoor educator training, and that's for people that were interested in becoming ambassadors with Adventure Smart. So that's tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Then we are offering on February 3rd at 7 o'clock our Survive Outside program, and that teaches you all about the 3 T's that Sandra mentioned in the webinar this evening. We go real into depth about that. We learn all about our 3 T's, trip planning, training, taking the essentials, and that's something that we apply to every trip that we do, whether we're going skiing, whether we're going for a walk with the dog, anything like that. On Tuesday, February 9th, we have Hug a Tree and Survive. This program is geared for children ages 5 to 11 years old. And what it does is it teaches kids how not to become lost in the woods, and if they do become lost, what to do and how to stay put and survive. And then we have snow safety education backcountry. So talking about out of bounds that we talked about this evening, outside of those boundaries where there is no ski patrol and no avalanche control. They don't put any ropes or signs, anything like that. So we'll have one of those on February 10th and one of those on February 17th. Perfect. Oh, great. We have a question from Karen here. What else can we use besides the phone to contact friends or family if they are back home? Also, is the What 3 Words app recommended? I've actually personally never heard of What 3 Words. Have you, Sandra?
I have, and it's come out a lot lately, actually. I've seen it in the news, and I know Michael Coyle. Natasha, you know Michael from Coquitlam SAR.
Yeah.
He's talked to me about it a little bit too. And there's different means out there to communicate with people, and that's an option. There's no question. I know when we talk about communications, we always say it starts at home, and that means that we're making that plan at home, and then we're filing that plan. And we talk about how do we communicate when we're out there, which is we physically want to communicate. You're communicating also by making that plan, which can be a note left at home, pen and paper. That's old school. It still works. Leave it where you leave notes at your house. Let someone know where you're going. That's the start of your communication, because you've placed some processes in order. If you're not back by 5, phone me at 5:30. If I don't answer and you don't hear from me by 6, you're phoning 911. So there's steps to be put into place with your trusted emergency contact. So that's a means of communication. Other means of communication, because you can't rely, and I don't rely on my phone out there for many, many reasons. Drop call, battery, cold, cell reception. There's many reasons why that's not going to be my means of communication. So a two-way satellite phone, a Spot, InReach, Zoleo. There's other devices where you can communicate. There are also devices to, as well, alert with an SOS. Some have two-way communication. Some have means of a one-way communication. So you can look up different devices to see what would work best for you. And then you can go from there. But knowing what works for the region you're in, where you usually play or ski or board, and if it can fit in your budget, because all of these cost money and we need to be considerate of that. But if you're heading to the ski hill, you're staying within the ski area boundary. If something happens within that ski area boundary, your help will be ski patrol, and your friends will help you get that, right? Or a passerby. But also someone at home knows what mountain you're on, what time you're supposed to be back. You might check in during the day, even a quick text, the snow's great, or the snow sucks, it's terrible. So there's the communication from home there is happening maybe on lunch break. And then again, if you're not back by the end of the day. So there's easy ways to communicate that within the ski area boundary, make it doable. And there's other ways to purchase other devices that can make it more efficient, but they also do come at a cost.
Awesome. So we just have another question here. What should you do if you're only with one other person? And I can answer this. I believe this is to Logan or John. I'm not too sure. But if you're just with one other person and somebody is injured, you'd want to flag somebody else down that's skiing in the ski area. So you can do that whether you're waving and using your whistle, waving your ski poles, anything like that. So if you can flag somebody else down and you give them your location and you tell them what's wrong with your friend, then you get that person to ski down to the nearest chairlift, and you get them to radio ski patrol for you. So that's what we'd want to do if you're with only one other person. Sometimes it can take a little bit for people to ski by you, but yeah, we definitely don't want to be leaving our injured friend alone if at all possible. So that's a great question. Thank you for that. We just have a comment from Mike, and he's just saying some SAR groups are recommending What 3 Words because of its simplistic nature for a person to relay their location. So I'm definitely really interested in this. I want to do some more digging into this, because this is actually the first myself I've heard of it. So thank you for the suggestion, Mike and Karen. That's great. Anybody else have any questions this evening? All right, so nothing's popping up here. So what I will do is I will let Sandra sign off for this evening, and then I will be ending the webinar. Thank you very much from the tech side this evening. I hope you have a great winter skiing, snowboarding, and adventuring up in the resorts.
Thanks, Natasha. Always a pleasure. And thanks, everyone. We really appreciate you joining us tonight. And normally we would be in schools delivering this presentations. It's really a great one for school groups. It's awesome. It's well received. And we've been doing this for 17 years face-to-face, and we've had to shift like you have too. So I appreciate you welcoming myself and Natasha into your home tonight so that we could chat one way, sort of, with a few questions. And we hope that you apply the resources that we shared with you tonight and file that trip plan. Use our app. It's free. It's easy. And you really don't have to think about it. You just have to fill in the fields and send that to a friend or family. And I use the text service on it. It's wonderful. And have fun out there. Have a great winter. Be safe. And here's to a more promising new year for everybody. I'm not saying Happy New Year anymore, but I'm wishing everyone a more promising new year. And from our side of things, we hope for fewer search and rescue incidents. And that comes down to you and me, because I play outside a lot, in preparing and respecting the mountain, respecting myself by being prepared, and respecting others like our first responders by being considerate of them and trying to help reduce the number and severity of those calls. So thanks very much, everybody. Take care, and tell your friends to join us for the next one. We're here, and you can find everything on our Facebook, as you know. Enjoy your evening. Take care. Thanks for your support.